let's talk some NFC North football here. In our eyes, or at least Ziggy and I's, clear winners of the draft. I actually think across the board, all four teams had a really good NFL draft.
I can't wait.
Oh, please.
Same, Zach. Same.
Please.
For the NFC North to absolutely get stomped this year by everybody.
No, it's not going to happen. Like, this is the best division in football.
The Bears
outside maybe
the Bears are my number one loser. You know that?
Oh yeah, because you don't like Caleb. So let's start with Chicago here. We'll go through each of the teams. The Bears only 5 picks, but I look up and down. I think they did a really good job. Starting with Caleb Williams, we all knew that was going to be the pick. We know you don't like him, Jack, but if you're thinking about who the Bears have been, in 5 years we're going to look back and this is going to be the draft where it could have changed everything. This was the moment where it changed everything for the Bears. Culture matters in the NFL. Forever the Bears have been great defense, basically no offense, good at home in Soldier Field, but they're just never going to deliver. I think this actually is a point now where there's swagger on this Bears offense with Odunze and Caleb, who obviously the Bears didn't make it a secret. They wanted Rome by having him. He was working out with Caleb Williams. They were on jets together. I think that with those two guys coming in, joining Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, this Bears team for the first time, I think that they're going to come out next year and there's a chance that Bears offense is lighting it up, which we've never have seen from Chicago. Jay Cutler was good with Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey a bit, but this feels different. Would you guys agree with that?
Oh, there's a whole lot of reason to be hyped. Yeah, absolutely. And if Caleb is what he's cracked out to be and what people think he's going to be, then there's no reason to believe that they can't be very, very good. I do believe that we'll be debating shortly who is worse, Jamarcus Russell or Caleb Williams.
Yeah, for any Bears fan listening, Jack has hated Caleb Williams. The rest of Ziggy and I strongly disagree.
But look, if he hits the ceiling that everybody thinks he will, then yeah, there's reason to be super, super excited.
I mean, you are right that in 5 years we will be looking back at the draft that could have changed the Bears, and we will either decide that the Bears have some life and are doing pretty okay and finally found a quarterback, or they truly are the most cursed franchise in the entire NFL 100%. At the position.
If this is the one, if they miss on Caleb, where Mitch had tons of question marks, they've had Fields had question marks too. This was the number 1 overall pick, the unanimous number 1 overall pick since the time he stepped on a football field at Oklahoma. Before that, and if this one doesn't work out with the supporting cast that he has, then I think we're all going to sit back and go okay, these guys are never going to have anyone step in and be good. But they even got here in the 3rd round, Ziggy. They got your guy, who was it? The Yale kid, right? The offensive tackle.
Yeah, I told you.
They got a tackle from Yale.
No, but that was Ziggy's. This guy was Ziggy's surprise riser in the draft. Everyone's been talking about him. He's a project. What's his name? It's Kieran. What's
Karan?
Oh, Karan.
Amagaji.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Wait, say that again.
Karan Amagaji.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well done, Ziggy. Everyone knows I have trouble with pronunciation.
He played Ivy League football.
Yeah,
he was so freaking.
No, he was great. This is someone that a lot of people were talking about rising up the draft board, and Chicago there for those first 3 picks between those 3 dudes. If I'm a Bears fan, I am jacked up. I think that this is I walked out of this draft thinking the Bears are a wild card team next season.
I love the Roman Dunze or Donze. Yeah, Dunze pick. I like that a lot. On paper, this looks fantastic.
So, Ziggy, did you like a Dunze at 9 there? Now, some people thought they could have gone with any defensive player was available at this point still. But
it's solid though.
It is good.
The defense is solid, and importantly, we saw how the rest of the NFL saw these defensive players, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody was really excited about any of them. The fact that Latu was the first defensive edge to go tells me that nobody really saw anything super high in these guys, the cornerbacks even more. Taking a consensus top 10 prospect, a good wide receiver, who frankly you can't have enough of, I think it makes a world of sense. Because realistically, I get that the Bears have a decent, they've got some skill position players, but you do not. Do you think the Bengals felt bad when Joe Burrow in his 2nd year was able to step in with 3 great weapons?
No, not at all. And Dunze, what was he? 6'3", 215.
He complements it well. DJ Moore, I've been high on DJ Moore for a while, but you don't necessarily want him to be your number undisputed alpha. Keenan Allen is very good, but he gets hurt a lot.
And he's 32.
Yeah, and let's imagine Keenan Allen gets hurt, right? Now here are your top 3 receivers: DJ Moore, Velus Jones, Dante Pettis. You needed a receiver. You had to take a Dunze.
Yep, I thought it was a great pick, and I bet Caleb Williams had a say in this as well, because clearly the two of them have been hitting it off, Caleb and Adunze. So I bet that he had a little influence on this too, saying like, "Go get my guy."
I forgot to warn the Bears GM, stay away from USC quarterbacks.
Yeah, no,
I hate USC.
You tried.
I hate USC quarterbacks. I don't like them at all.
You tried to warn him. This was I think this was an obvious success for the Bears, and Ryan Poles.
On paper.
On paper, that's a great.
Yeah, you never know how it's going to go, right? But the Bears, there was a straightforward thing they should have done. They did it. That's not a guarantee with the Bears.
And I think it's just cool for the Bears fans that we know they finally have some hope for offense, where the defense I think is always going to be good. And then they really did turn it up at the end of last season. But for the Bears to come into a year and be afraid a little bit of the Bears offense, that's not a feeling that we're familiar with as Vikings fans. And if Caleb gets going by middle of the season, they have is there a better trio of receivers? Like that's one of the best trios in the league that you could have right now. And DeAndre Swift's in the backfield. So good job for the Bears. We'll go on to the Vikings, our Minnesota Vikings. And I know Ziggy has some hot takes on the Vikings draft, but it really, the Vikings draft was round 1 with J.J. McCarthy. They trade up again from 23 to go get Dallas Turner, the Alabama edge rusher. A lot of people thought might be the best defensive player in the draft. At least I know my dad did. And and this Vikings team now, who was searching for an identity after Kirk Cousins was gone. We knew it was going to be a quarterback. We know they loved Drake May. They tried to go up for him. To get J.J. McCarthy without mortgaging the entire future, in my eyes, that was a huge, huge win. Would you agree with that, Ziggy?
I think they got punked moving up to 10, but yes. No, it was getting J.J. McCarthy there. I said he was going to fall to 11. I think he would have fallen to 11. But regardless, they could have gotten nervous and traded up to 4 or 5 for him, and they just didn't. And they didn't have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the huge win to me, was maintaining the first round pick next year, because next year the Vikings have 3 picks, I think, currently. They'll get compensatory picks for Cousins and Hunter probably in the 3rd round. But as of right now, they only have 3 picks next year. If you listen to, I saw someone tweeted at us our show and said, if you really zoom out at the Vikings first round this year, they got J.J. McCarthy, Dallas Turner, a 6th round pick this year, and a 7th round pick this year, with all their trades. They traded away, look at this check. They traded away number 11, 2nd rounder this year, 2nd rounder next year, 3rd rounder next year, 4th rounder this year, 4th rounder next year, 2 5th rounders this year, and a 6th rounder this year. All of that for McCarthy, Dallas Turner, and the 6th and 7th round picks. That's a lot. That is a lot to give up. My counter to it is, if J.J. McCarthy is good, no one cares. No one cares at all if McCarthy works out.
J.J. McCarthy was my number 1 pick.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised that you weren't all over this, because you said you were taking him number. Like, you don't think the Vikings are
I knew that was going to be your winner, so I don't want to share the same winner as you. But I'm Minnesota winning the North now.
Yeah, there we go. That's what we want to hear on this show. But no, you like J.J. McCarthy. Right?
I like him a lot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do.
No, and it's, again, I don't have any problem with the J.J. McCarthy pick. The problem was, it seemed they thought the Patriots might be willing to play ball and trade it up to 23. That already wasn't great because it didn't work out. They weren't able to go up for May. And then packaging tons of future draft capital to get Dallas Turner, who, by all accounts, he's a good player, right? But we're not talking about a genuine elite. We're not talking about a generational or genuinely elite edge prospect, right? This isn't like Will Anderson last year. It's not like we're moving up from Myles Garrett. Mm-hmm. It's a good, not great prospect, and you're giving up so much to do it. I understand why.
Like, he could be great.
Of course he could be, right? But I'm just saying, like, it's not like we're moving up here for an elite prospect. We're moving up for one of the better edge prospects in this draft. Clearly, there's some dispute about who was the best. And, the consensus was high on him. Fair enough. And if you assume that they were trading up for like the 7th, 8th, or 9th pick, then it makes more sense. But they got him at 17.
But here's
And the
thing,
reason
though,
they
is-
got him at 17 was because the rest of the NFL doesn't think he's all that good.
Well, no. Part of it though is that a lot of the NFL went crazy on offense. There was an insane run on quarterbacks. I mean, like we just said it, teams were desperate this year.
Yeah, but other teams were calling to trade up, right? The reason the Vikings got to move up is because they thought better than the team they traded with, and they thought better than every other team in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm very happy with Turner because in most of the time, I do think that he is a top 10, 12 selection. I just think this year was crazy where you had 13 dudes. I mean, 13 offensive players. It was a record. Went before any defensive player. So I was pretty happy with that. But one thing, that a lot of people are talking about with the Vikings right now is that they were the place to go for a rookie quarterback. People talked. I think McCarthy even
said that too.
Yeah, we've said that.
Times.
Everyone said it. Everyone said between Jefferson, Addison, Aaron Jones, Hawkinson, like the Vikings offense, great offensive line, Kevin O'Connell. People are just saying that any rookie that goes in there is going to succeed. I actually want to pump the brakes on that. Like we've seen, there's no system. I mean, Shanahan's the closest it's been, but we've seen quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Bad quarterbacks.
Hey, remember when that Trey Lance guy went to San Francisco?
Yeah, a bad quarterback. If you have a bad quarterback, your team is not going to be very good. Like that, at the end of the day, that's it. Now, the Vikings have a better situation around McCarthy than everyone, but ultimately, this team is going to end up on J.J. McCarthy being someone who can complete basic concepts that O'Connell's going to, like O'Connell will draw people open. Can McCarthy make the throw? That's basically where we're at. And there's not a lot of tape on him. So ultimately it's on JJ to succeed from here. But yeah, I am thrilled that we have someone who seems very smart, seems like a great teammate, great hard worker. Just a matter of going out and doing it now, which is in question.
I think JJ McCarthy. Oh, go Ziggy.
I was going to say, I love the fit, right? What does JJ McCarthy do best? The answer is middle of the field time throws.
Yeah.
What does Kevin O'Connell want to do? Middle of the field time throws.
Yeah.
I view JJ McCarthy a little bit like a better Bo Nix, where his elite game is shorter, more intermediate, middle of the field. But in that sense, he's very accurate. I think these types of weapons, especially a guy like Jordan Addison, who likes to run those kind of routes, Justin Jefferson, best receiver in football. I see it working out very well for JJ McCarthy.
McCarthy protects the ball too. I was really getting.
He's smart. Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah, I didn't like. Actually, good with his legs as well. I love how we're just going to keep hyping up JJ McCarthy on this show over the offseason. But I wasn't getting frustrated. But a lot of people were making fun of the Vikings for that pick. I mean, dude, Ziggy, I don't think I told you guys this yet, but I got the run of texts on my phone whenever the Vikings do something stupid is crazy. And for JJ McCarthy, I mean, I just had a list on my phone, every single one. Maybe one or two texts said, "Hey, congrats! Like love this guy." Every other one, dude, I'm so sorry about this. Oh my gosh, Vikings, what are you doing? Ha 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 ha. I was like, what are you guys? What is everyone talking about here? You want us to roll out Darnold and that's it for the future? Like we had to do this. A lot of people like this guy. It's a little bit of an overdraft, but
is it even that much? Like he's a polarizing prospect. A lot of people had him as number 3 or 4.
Yeah, I was very happy with it. And the fact that we didn't, if we had traded up to 5 and sold the farm for McCarthy, then maybe we were sitting here going, okay, we could regret this. But even if he stinks, like you have to roll the dice at some point. So I was totally okay with it. And I think the Vikings are in a position where if McCarthy can come in at some point, or it's going to be Darnold to start the year, but with McCarthy there at some point in the season, I'm expecting him to play. Yeah, I think this team is close to a wild card contention again. But the defense needs to take some steps, and McCarthy needs to as well before that's a realistic conversation. All right, the team that everyone here is waiting to hear about. That's
and we close out with these books.
Well, we got one more. We got one.
Oh, the Lions too.
One more. But the team that everybody wants to hear.
The Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions. Let's talk about the Lions.
Here comes all our comments.
We'll do a little bit about the Packers right now, and we have the list in front of us right now. 11 picks. Now, this feels like a Ziggy draft. So many throws at the dartboard.
It looks like a Ziggy draft.
But this was also a very Packer-esque draft in that not a lot of sexy picks. Like the Vikings, the Bears, they're taking Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy. Like they're making big splash plays that are going to alter the franchise. The Packers, as they usually do, go about their business. They fill the holes on their roster. They address the needs. A lot of people are kind of questioning it in the moment. You saw the Lions fan mocking the Packers fan on draft night. maybe the only time you ever get to see the Lions mock the Packers. But a lot of times the Packers are made fun of for their picks because people don't really know a lot about their prospects, and then they wind up working out. So I like safety, O-line, and linebacker were their big issues. 8 of their first 9 picks hit those positions. I think overall, I'm imagining, Ziggy, that you loved this draft for Green Bay.
I'm of two minds about this draft, actually. I would not say I love it. I do like, I'll say when we're starting out with the picks, I do like the Jordan Morgan pick. He's not playing tackle at the next level. His pass pro is tough and he can't move quickly. His arms are short. But what they're going to do is put him inside at guard, and he's going to be the run blocking monster they need to unlock Josh Jacobs. So that's, I think, a perfectly fine pick. I like the second level defense needs some work. So you take Edgerrin Cooper and Javon Bullard. Again, I worry about Cooper a little bit in terms of positional value, but he's a good player. Not a lot of complaints there. Marshawn Lloyd, I found really puzzling, actually. Packers fans in the comments sort of all offseason been talking about how they're drafting Josh Jacobs to be that pass catching back that Aaron Jones could never be, right? But Marshawn Lloyd, like he's like the Aaron Jones replacement, I guess. He doesn't catch a lot of passes. He sort of just runs. But I don't know. Why are you signing Josh Jacobs to this kind of deal if you don't feel like Jacobs is going to be in there for the early downs? Otherwise, I don't know. There's, Evan Williams is fine, I guess. There's those 6th and 7th round picks. Some of them will hit, some of them won't. But as you said, it's not a sexy draft, but the Packers don't need sexy. They've got the weapons. They've got the quarterback. What you need is a solid offensive line play. Hopefully they can improve the run blocking a little bit. Because the run blocking was good last year. The offense looked so much better. And when it wasn't good, you saw some disaster. And then the defense, you just hope that the new defensive coordinator fixes things. You can't spend another first-round pick on defense.
What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, so it's I have the same kind of takeaways. There's not too many team needs. I mean, they already addressed the big one with Xavier McKinney. Yeah, it's not a draft you look at up and down the board. It's like, oh, this like you can easily say this is the worst draft in the NFC North, but I don't. They needed what they had to do. I do like these 3 rookie selections, that safety. Now you pair them up with Xavier McKinney as well.
That's a point that I wanted to talk about. Is a lot of people, when you talk about the NFC North draft grades, a lot of them you'll see the Packers are probably, unless if someone hates J.J. McCarthy, then the Vikings are last. But a lot of people will have the Packers probably like a B or somewhere around there. And the other teams are, B plus, sometimes A minus, A, whatever it might be for Lions, Bears, and Vikings. But that's just because of the exact reason we said that the Packers didn't go and do anything like unbelievable.
They didn't have to.
But they did. And that's the thing. That's what's great. Like, that's what the Packers fans will love about their team is they took care of what they had to. And ultimately, last year they had Darnell Savage, Jonathan Owens, Rudy Ford were top 3 safeties on that team. None of them are back. That room is completely different now with McKinney. And then you got 3 safeties between Bullard, Evan Williams, and Oladapo out of Oregon State here. So I think Green Bay fans are sitting back saying, all right, like the team's ready to go. Really, is there another hole on this Packer team, Ziggy, that you're waiting to be addressed?
I mean,
off the top of your head, I know I'm kind of throwing you on the spot here.
I know.
Is there anything that jumps out to you? Like you're going to need the corners to step up again. You can't have Jair and Eric Stokes stink like they have been, over the past.
Yeah, I mean, you worry about the secondary a little bit, right? But what the Packers' plan is this: they took a lot of players besides Morgan, the guard. They took a lot of players they're hoping will develop into useful guys for them. And otherwise, I think the offense you really have nothing to worry about. And on the defense, I think they're making the right choice to a certain extent. They brought in some relevant free agents, but you just have to hope that bringing in a new coach is going to help things out a little bit. You just can't keep investing every resource on that side of the ball when you've got a guy like Jordan Love, who you know that when you give him just a little bit of support, he's going to be really good.
That's what's so frustrating about Green Bay is that they've been investing everything on defense, but their offense is what's really taken off lately. They keep nailing these later round offensive players to the point now where, you said I don't think there's any hole left on that offense. I think the offense is ready to go. And now it's just a matter of like there's a reason that after taking Morgan, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the next 5 picks were all defensive. So they do a great job. And if you go back and look at Packer drafts, they're consistently nailing these later round selections. I think they're in a great spot here now to sit back and say, okay, Jeff Hafley, take these guys, a lot of really talented guys. We know how many former first round picks there are. Take them. If you could get the defense to top 10 level now, this is a definite Super Bowl contending team. You don't even have to be top 10.
And a draft like this too, especially by a franchise like Green Bay, it lets you know that they're exactly where they want to be and that they're ready to go.
Yeah.
And we just brought it up. The only offensive players they drafted besides Marshall Lloyd at USC were offensive linemen. Then you went linebacker, safety, corner. And it's exactly what they had to do.
And people even like Jacob Monk, the other offensive lineman they went with. They said he's a great backup prospect.
When you're taking your backup running back in round 3, you don't really need much.
I actually want to see. So before we move on to Detroit, one guy that I definitely want, and I look, I'm not going to lie, I don't know too much. I haven't done too much digging on Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker out of A&M, but he's a faster linebacker, one of those guys now. And it's weird, college football. I was reading an article and it's just talking about college football linebackers. You don't really see a lot of the big bruisers anymore, like the Patrick Willis types or Brian Urlacher. I know I'm talking Hall of Famers here, but you see a lot more of these kind of smaller speed linebackers. And
like Chop.
Yeah. And does it really translate? Who's the? I'm trying to remember. The Vikings just drafted someone out of Oklahoma. I can't remember his name. Like these guys who can just get all over the field. And Edgerrin Cooper seems to be one of those guys. A faster, smaller linebacker. But I want to see how, as a 45th pick is a pretty big investment in a player. I think he's someone to circle and say, like, okay, when we're looking at this rookie class, they put, top 50 pick is a lot. I want to see how he fits into that defense, how Jeff Hafley's able to use him, because linebacker is another position group. After letting go or losing Campbell, now that's somewhere where in Green Bay, that group as well is going to have a focus on it throughout the season. Edgerrin Cooper is someone that I'm just going to be paying attention to. All the other picks, I love the Boyd pick. The Morgan pick, I had no idea what was going on, and it was fun to make fun of Green Bay in the moment, but I'm sure he'll be a Hall of Famer. So yeah, I'm sure he will be. People were saying they should have gone after DeJean or something, but I'm sure.
I mean, hey, a 6'5", 325 pound offensive tackle.
All right, so that'll take us to the last team of the show today, the Detroit Lions, who I actually thought had one of the picks of the first round. Really, I mean, the first 2 picks.
They traded up for their dude too.
They did, but and what a pick it was, because the Lions this whole offseason we've been talking about another disgustingly annoying situation as an NFC North fan, where the Lions are pretty complete across the board. That offense, no holes on the offense really. You could use another receiver, but then on defense, it's really the secondary that fell apart over the course of last season. And they've revamped that completely now with Carlton Davis Jr. coming in. And they trade up for Terry and Arnold. You see the number 1 or 2 cornerback in the draft fall. Detroit makes the move, I believe from 29 up to 24. Like I'm sitting here on draft night going, you gotta be kidding me. How the hell are they ending up with Terry and Arnold? And then they go and they get Ennis Rakestraw Jr., the corner from Missouri, another guy that a lot of people thought is a top 5 corner in this class. And you blink your eyes and all of a sudden now it's completely revamped Detroit secondary, along with Brian Branch in the second at safety there. And now I don't know, between Green Bay and Detroit, I think it's gonna be a really fun race. We'll see how the rookies do in Chicago and Minnesota. But I absolutely loved what Detroit did in those first 2 picks.
So I want to go down here to their with the 7th round with Christian Mahogany out of Boston College. Is that round
210? I have no idea what that is.
So pick 210.
Let's just say a late pick.
Christian Mahogany and I he came to visit Marist College for a weekend, and we went undefeated in Pong at a pregame.
Really?
Christian Mahogany. So he was
he's your boy.
Thanks for the inside scouting, Jack.
And then what was funny is then I'll get back to actually talking about analyzing stuff. But with the Terry and Arnold pick, my good buddy who's a Lions fan, Alex, he placed a bet on FanDuel that pick number 29 will be a corner.
Really?
Yeah, because he's like, Lions are taking a corner for sure. It was like plus like 105.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He goes, pick 29 will be a cornerback, but he didn't bet the Lions pick. He bet pick 29.
Well, no one thought Terry and Arnold was going to be there at 24.
Yes. So they traded up, took a corner. He got hyped, then realized, shoot, it was the 29th pick, and then Dallas went and drafted like not a cornerback.
Gotcha.
But Arnold arguably one of the top corners in the draft, and the Lions needed it.
Daniel Jeremiah too had Ennis Rakestraw Jr. as the number 32 prospect. He had a groin injury. A lot of the reasons people thought he might have fallen in the draft. So for Detroit to get two guys, I mean, not just for Jeremiah, not just top corner, but like number 32, that's a first rounder right there. To get two first round quality players at a position of need for Detroit, I was
you worry about the injury history of Rakestraw.
You do.
That's why he's there. You worry about the size, but I actually think maybe the most interesting pick in the entire NFL draft belongs to the Lions. And it's a player that, even a lot of the media consensus big boards did not even have ranked. It's Giovanni Manu.
Oh, yeah. No. We're looking at the picks. We were trying.
I was guessing you were going to say Vaki out of Utah.
No, I mean, the thing about Manu that's so interesting is like, he's an absolute nobody. He can't play football.
Huge.
He's really terrible at the position. Like, he was second team All-Canadian. The guy couldn't even be first team All-Canadian in British Columbia. But I'll tell you what he is. He is an athlete. And at a certain point, when you get a guy who's 6'7", who's 350 pounds, who can move incredibly well, even though he doesn't have any technique, he's never had real coaching. I have no idea who the head coach at British Columbia is, but surely it's not a great.
I didn't know they had football
I'm surprised you don't.
Yeah.
I was looking at UBC. I'm like, what the heck is that?
I was like thinking of like UMBC, like, oh, Maryland, they've got one, but no, but I'll tell you, like, if the Lions have just said, like, we want guys we can develop, and they're thinking, it's worked out well in the past. They've got a good offensive line. If Manu's able to hit his potential, he will be one of the best tackles in the NFL. Now, does he hit that potential? Almost certainly not. But when you're talking about a fourth round pick, again, if this guy had gone to Alabama, he probably would have been a first rounder just because of the athletic ability. There's a lot to like about this pick.
But also, like, oh, there's a lot to like about that pick. I don't think. I'm sorry, Jack. Go ahead. I'll let you finish this.
I feel like you can like kind of stink, but if you're playing on the line at 6'8", 350, like it's tough to be bad.
I don't know. I mean, so these defensive linemen are so quick and so powerful.
Yeah, you know how massive that is, though.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I mean,
that's like
the guy has any talent as a lineman.
I mean, this guy, like, he is. Besides, I actually went back and watched some game tape on this because I just want to know who the heck this guy was. And he's incredibly quick in space. But this showed up at his pro day testing, right? Like, this guy ran a 5.6 or a 5.06 40-yard dash at 6'7", 352. His shuttle times would have been among the best at the entire combine. He's good.
Yeah. I can't talk too much on Giovanni Manu. Personally, I haven't watched the tape on Giovanni Manu, but yeah, 6'8", 350 is something that everyone turns their head and looks at that guy when he walks in the room. So if he has any sort of offensive talent or offensive line talent, yeah, you're right. This guy, he could be good. It's always worth taking a gamble on these people later in the draft, in my opinion. But I'm sitting back here, Ziggy. I'm looking right now at the Lions defensive depth chart for the season, and no one's really talking about the Lions offseason. But right now, I mean, they went and got Reeder, they got Davenport, they brought in Davis, Arnold, they just drafted Rakestraw. I mean, this Lions defense, for the problems they had, they've completely addressed it. We put out a breakout clip recently on Detroit. It's one of the better off seasons in the league, in my opinion. They shored up their guys on the offensive side with Amon-Ra and Sewell. The odds right now are Detroit plus 140 to win the North, Green Bay plus 185, Bears plus 370, Vikings plus 750. I mean, I think this division is just absolutely.
Oh, you know where my value?
Detroit's a problem. Like, Detroit is a problem. Packers fans are in the comment section saying, you guys, like, a couple of them are saying, what are you talking about here? Like, really, Detroit? This is a really good football team, and they're going to be a tough out.
They're the Alabama Lions now.
Your friend Alex has to be through the
he's through the roof. I mean, Terry and Arnold, Brian Branch, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams. It's the Alabama Lions.
It's nuts. So right now, all right, we'll end with this. Given those odds right now, what's the best value pick in the NFC North to win the division? I'll say it one more time. Lions plus 140, Packers plus 185, Bears plus 370, Vikings plus 750. Like, Jack, I give you $100. Where are you putting your money?
Oh, 100?
Yeah, I give you $100.
Oh, the Vikings. Give me like
Jack the gambler.
Give me like 1,000. The Packers.
How about you, Ziggy? $100.
Look, here's the thing: the Packers own the Lions, the Packers own the Bears, the Packers own the Vikings. They're not going to own us next year, like in 2 years when J.J. McCarthy's that guy. But next year, the Packers just seem to be peaking at the right time. They have a little more upside than the Lions. Plus 185 seems too good to be true.
Oh, I think it's going to be like such a. The Lions is the pick, actually. Everybody would take the Pack. I think the Lions is probably the pick.
I would also put. Oh, yeah. I think the Lions are the pick right now, plus 140. Man, I mean, that Packer Lion matchup this year is just going to be. But Ziggy is right. The Packers do seem to.
But if you give me like $500,000 and say put on one of these teams, I put on the Lions.
Well, yeah,
I don't want to bet any money on like.
But that's the best team in the division.
Yeah, I would probably. But who's the best quarterback in the division, though?
Jared Goff.
Ooh.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah, I would put it on. I would put it on Detroit too right now because I think their defense.
I don't like Utah State QBs.
There we go. There we go. Now it comes out. All right. So there you have it. Right now, me and Jack are betting on the Lions. Ziggy is taking the Packers. Zach, do you care to weigh in here? Throw yourself on, Zach, one more time before we get out of here.
The Packers.
Crowd pleaser. All right, we'll be back on Thursday with more from the show. Thanks again for listening to the draft reaction. Good to have Jack back from Nashville alive, Ziggy back from Denver with a after a rousing speech. People said that it rivaled some of the great ones in history. So
take that shirt off.
Yeah, we got a text midway through.
Take that shirt off, Ziggy.
Yeah, Ziggy, odds you take your shirt off. Completely ignored from Professor Ziegler.
How many views did that get? Millions, probably.
Millions. I mean, he'll be the Bachelor soon.
No one wants to see that.
That's
at 100K. That's at 100K.
Yeah, at 100K, Ziggy goes shirtless.
Okay.
That's it right
200K, you go pantsless, too.
Well, I mean, no one would know. He should be pantsless.
Then we'll lose the channel.
I can't wait for the promo for Ziggy on The Bachelor, and they just show Ziggy climbing into a hot tub. He's got just chilling out.
I might be tempted to join him in that hot tub.
Okay, let's end the show here. We'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for listening.